You know how 48 hours after you quit weed, you kind of want to crawl out of your skin? Because you can't sleep and people are making you crazy. And all you can think about is picking up. And then, mysteriously, it seems logical that if I have just a little bit of weed, I'll have the energy I need to quit weed. So you do. And within a week, you're back to full-time use. Like, we know it doesn't make any sense that if I have some weed, then I'll be able to quit weed. But it does. So what exactly is going on here? Well, there are three converging forces that create this unique kind of crazy. And today we're going to talk about the physical one, and it's going to give you a totally new appreciation for why it is so difficult to hang in there with quitting, and hopefully some compassion for yourself as well. And then, as a bonus, we'll talk about why everyone's timeline for cannabis withdrawal is different and how you can estimate what your timeline might be. There's a very unique system in your body. It doesn't run its own systems like your digestive system digests. Instead, it turns other systems on and off to keep them running in a healthy range. So it's got its fingers on lots of buttons, and it's called the endocannabinoid system. Take, for example, your stress response, fight or flight. It gets triggered when something intense happens, like a disagreement or an exam, and you get activated and cortisol goes up so you can be alert. But you can't stay in fight or flight because it's incompatible with your other needs, like sleep. And it's your endocannabinoid system that cues the counter response to relax you. And the endocannabinoid system is smart. It actually learns from your experiences and then precisely targets the system going out of balance right when it needs it. So along comes weed, and you guessed it, it connects directly with the receptors of your endocannabinoid system. But cannabis is not smart. It's more like a master key to every back door at once. So it floods all the systems, flipping all the switches. So you might get euphoric, or you might get paranoid, you might get hungry, or you might fall asleep. You might get creative, or you might stare at the TV. But again, the endocannabinoid system is smart, and it handles the flood of stimulation from THC by cutting back on the number of receptors for it to connect with. Like, there's still too much in the system, but there's fewer places for it to connect. So you function more or less in balance. And things work mostly fine until you quit weed, because now you have fewer receptors. So when you get stressed, fight or flight still kicks in. But now your endocannabinoid system doesn't have the bandwidth that it needs to soothe your stress response so you can rest. And just a few days of this, and you start to feel like you can't cope. Because you kind of can't. And then you get this intense pull to use cannabis to fix yourself, because it will. And that's just your stress response. Most people have no idea how many other systems your endocannabinoid system is taking care of for you. And here is where it gets eye-opening. You already know the ones you experience during withdrawal. I mean, that's things like sleep and appetite, your body temperature, your motivation, and your moods. But there is a way bigger list going on always below your level of awareness. And that is things like your autonomic nervous system, learning and memory, your inflammatory and immune responses, your metabolism, pain control, motor control, muscle formation, bone growth, and liver function, all downregulated. So when you quit weed, all those systems are struggling to remain balanced simultaneously. They're still running, but it's like being short-staffed on the lunch rush. It's exhausting and it's stressful, and it's not anything anyone is going to do for weeks. Having just a little bit of weed at this point is like hiring more staff so you can take a break. So, you see why it feels like if you have some weed, it'll give you the energy that you need to quit weed. Because it does. But if you can persist, the endocannabinoid system has got your back. Again, because given enough time without weed, it will restore all the receptor sites in all the systems with no action on your part, getting you back in balance. And everyone's number one question at this point is, how long is that going to take? Because withdrawal is miserable and hard. Well, the standard answer is about a month, but there's actually big variation based on individual variables. So let's talk about those, and you can figure out what's realistic for you. First, it depends on your genetics and metabolism, because THC is highly fat soluble, which means that it hangs out in your fat cells. And so over time, THC metabolites are slowly released into the bloodstream. So people with a higher body fat percentage actually take longer to detox. And likewise, if you have no appetite after you quit weed and you're losing weight because you're burning fat, you also have THC circulating in your system. So withdrawal lasts longer. Next, it depends on how heavy a user you were. So casual users do show fully restored receptor sites on imaging tests within a couple of weeks. But if you've been using multiple times a day for years, then you really are looking at a month or longer. Having said that, if you are using intensely high concentrations of cannabis, even intermittently, you can get downregulation of receptor sites, meaning withdrawal lasts longer. If you want to get a rough estimate about how long your individual detox might take, the DSM-5 classifies cannabis use disorder into 3 categories: mild, moderate, and severe. And where you fall in those categories is a reasonable estimate of how long a recovery period you're facing, whether it's a couple of weeks to a month to maybe just a little bit longer. So I'll drop a link to the 11-item assessment in the description, but keep in mind, just reading a scale is not diagnostic. And like I said, there is really big individual variability in how long it takes. Nonetheless, being honest with yourself in such an assessment is very useful information. But physiology is not the sole culprit of withdrawal symptoms. There's actually 2 more factors, and they're often the real reason why it feels like withdrawal is lasting way longer than it should. And we're going to talk about them in my next video, and that is available for you right here. If you learned something helpful today, or you just want to say thank you for the content, then please subscribe, because it makes a really big difference for my channel, and it is also the nicest way to say thank you.